Ready.
Set.
Gamecast.
Welcome to Ready, Set, Gamecast, a bi-weekly podcast about video games and the Twilight Zone. I'm Bryce, and you are traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but also of Darien.
No thank you? What?
A journey into the wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination and Sarah's left ear.
From sunny Johannesburg.
Your next stop, the Podcast Zone. That was my Twilight Zone intro.
You'll never be Jordan Peele, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Neither will I.
I prefer Broken Mirror, Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Yeah, but Jordan Peele probably is gonna nail the new Twilight Zone. We'll see.
Have any of you seen the new Twilight Zone?
Mm-mm.
Is it out?
Oh, there's at least 2 episodes out now.
Oh. I was gonna say I haven't even seen his movies, so I can't speak to that level.
I'll get you after this for that.
Well, while we're all not seeing the Twilight Zone, what have Darien been playing?
I've been playing League of Legends.
Didn't you quit that?
Nope.
Okay.
I took a hiatus. I never said that I quit. In fact, I know I've explicitly stated I will never quit League of Legends because I've put too much goddamn money into it to step away from it and not feel bad.
That sounds like a gambling addiction.
It basically is a gambling addiction.
See, here's the thing, though. If you quit it, you would stop putting money into it, but because you keep playing, you keep putting money in.
It's something that I enjoy thoroughly, okay? Sometimes.
Do you? Because every time you talk about it or play it, you tell me how bad
Everyone
it
I know
is.
who's ever played League of Legends has been like, it's the worst. It's horrible. And I'm like, why
Don't
are you
play
playing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever anybody's like, should I try League? I'm like, no, please, God, no, don't do that to yourself. I'm already lost. Don't do this to yourself.
Well, Sarah, what have you been playing?
I've not been playing a whole lot. I've more just been dabbling and dipping the old toes back into Kingdom Hearts 3, which is just a slog because I'm still in the Disney stuff. I don't know how much you guys have talked about Kingdom Hearts 3 already. But
we did
a decent amount.
A light bit of just kind of how we felt about it and a little bit of spoilery, just kind of like, so you haven't finished it?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not. I'm only 2 or 3 worlds in.
Oh.
But I'm just, I was kind of annoyed by what I'd already played. So, and I'm trying to still get to the end where apparently all the Kingdom Hearts or plot stuff happens. But
they shove all of the actual meat into the back.
They really do, don't they? It's not really well placed.
Yeah.
No.
Paste. Sad story. Kingdom Hearts, not game related, but I loaned my copy of the game to a coworker and he got fired. So I don't know if I'm getting it back.
Oh, that's awkward.
Why'd you fire him?
I didn't. My boss did, and it was because of...
Was he stealing people's video games?
Well...
What?
Unrelated, but yeah, I guess. He did.
So now it's just too awkward to try to get it back.
Well, everybody keeps telling me that he will probably still give it back, but I haven't spoken to him since he got fired because I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
like,
awkward.
Hey, sorry you lost your job. Can I have my video game back?
Just be like, hey, you got a lot of free time. You probably
I think
finished
you need
Kingdom
this
Hearts
more
now.
than I do.
I just be like, you probably beat it now. You don't have anything else going on. Can I have it back?
Actually, so the other problem is that he didn't have a PlayStation controller because his ex let her dogs chew his up. So I was supposed to also loan him a controller, and the shift that I finally remembered to bring it in, my boss was like, "Hey, so I fired this guy." God damn it!
You're like, damn it! I loaned him a game.
I brought that up to my boss too. I was like, "Oh, I'm never getting that game back." It
would have been great if you could have like coordinated with your boss to be like, you know what? Before you fire him, I need to get this game back. And so you ask, you're like, hey, I need it back within like the next few days. And then he does and gets fired. He's like, wait.
He brings it in, and then I'm like, all right, there it is. You can do it now, boss.
Boss needs to talk to you, so.
Thanks for the game. But other than that, I've been playing Sekiro. Played that a lot, but haven't gotten very far because it's Sekiro. And I've been playing a whole lot of Soul Calibur 6 because we're going to EVO in August, and some friends, and my boyfriend are pondering signing up to actually play. Not realistically to win anything, but just because I'm told it's very fun to actually play the circuits a little bit and like see which of your friends make it past a few brackets.
When's EVO?
It's August. I want to say it's like August 1st. It's like it's like the first weekend in August.
Because I before the podcast, I was like, you should come to PAX West. And I was like, that's also in August, which it's the last weekend. It's Labor Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of that end of August, beginning of September thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, taking two trips in a month is pretty chaotic. But I'm literally going to be going from one convention to PAX West. So
there you go.
It's gonna be a shit show for me, like that.
And it's PAX West is like more broad and like has a lot more like fun, high profile gaming like stuff. But Las Vegas is a 4-hour drive, and there's pools and stuff. So
because Seattle has no pools.
Seattle is a pool, I hear.
Yeah, they have an ocean. The Airbnb I'm looking at got ocean view. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm looking at some.
So you're having like the big PAX party, the house party.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Airbnbs love when you just be like, hey, how many people can we fit in this place?
I mean, no one's gonna know unless they're one of those ones that like tapes you in secret, or it can't be secret, that's illegal. But who tapes you? They have to disclose it.
Yeah, video games. How familiar? Like, have you played all the other Kingdom Hearts games?
I played 1 and 2 and Chain of Memories. I think that's it.
Oh.
I played like the final mix of Kingdom Hearts 2, and haven't played like I started the one on the Vita, the Birth by Sleep. I didn't get very far in that. I just YouTubed that shit.
There's a lot of people's favorites. A lot of people like the characters from that. I didn't get too far.
Yeah, I didn't get very far either. And I kept expecting like Kingdom Hearts 3 to not include a lot of plot from at least
everything. They at least
I know it's
casually
they give you that nice little recap, I guess, and they're like, oh, guess what? Just this crap that you weren't expecting. I'm like, when did that happen? I'm like, you were really expecting someone to play all of these?
I ended up finally watching the cutscenes because the collection has the cutscenes from Recoded on it, and I ended up watching that right before. And I was like, wow, they even referenced the like random scenes from that. And I also rewatched 358 over 2 days.
We call it numbers.
358 days over 2.
Yeah. Which that I ended up playing that on the DS when it came out, and like that fleshes out Roxas and Axel's story so much that like it completely recontextualizes 2 for me. And then obviously
that's cool.
Obviously like this a lot of I imagine you will be very confused as things progress.
I was mostly I definitely YouTubed a lot of scenes from the DS game as well, but I'm mostly playing 3 just because out of a sense of like I have to, because I was such a big fan of Kingdom Hearts when I played Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff, so I just was so into it that I have to play it. But by now I'm just like, this shit is so confusing and ridiculous, And I just have never cared much about the Disney stuff. Like, I like the classic Disney stuff, like the Aladdin and like Alice in Wonderland and Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff. But they're like, oh, Big Hero 6 and Frozen. I'm like, I don't. This is not my stuff.
So you're into the like Sora stuff, the Sora story. Okay.
More the like, the original plot.
Just grin and bear it, girl.
You might be excited for what might be happening in the future games because the secret movie seems to be going a certain way.
Nice. Well, I was one of those. I was also one of those terrible people that was just obsessed with the organization when it finally happened.
Oh my god.
All right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. The
like, oh yes, Kingdom Hearts. You mean like Black Robe People, the movie?
Yeah. Those guys are still popping around doing their thing.
Bopping around.
And it seems like the story is going to be more focused on the stuff pertaining to the mobile game going forward, which is the reason, like, once the credits
Absolutely
rolled.
Not.
Once the credits rolled on 3, I was like, oh, guess I got to play the mobile game now. Because there was actually a really cool moment in the game that was, like, for those players and was like, that is dope. And I figured that's all there was going to be. But then, like, the secret movie comes around and it's like, nope, it's only about that. And literally the story is unfolding right now in the mobile game. There is stuff like it's a character that we know has a sister who has died, and I know who it is.
Oh my god. I can't. I just can't.
Can you
I'm going to just
PM me?
Google it.
PM you?
Yeah, you need to tell me.
Oh.
I would say PM me too, because I normally don't give a shit about spoilers, but like the plot is literally the only thing keeping me going through this ridiculous gameplay and Disney crap. So I'm like, if I have any hope of finishing it, I have to like not know what's gonna happen yet.
So do you just like hate the Disney World stories, or are you just like not liking the gameplay in general?
I've never been like a huge Disney fan. I like the really old ones, like bring a lot of nostalgia and stuff for me, but like all the new stuff, like I'm not a big Pixar person. I'm not a big like the Disney animation of new, but also the gameplay, like it's just ridiculous, like as opposed to Kingdom Hearts 2. I thought the gameplay was fun. It was like still a tiny bit floaty for me, but this is like constantly like all the transformations and all the special attacks and moves and stuff. They're just like, I feel like they overcomplicate things so much, and I'm constantly like trying to fight things and like falling off of a platform it took me forever to get on and stuff.
Are you playing on easy?
No.
Oh, okay. I played on easy, and it wasn't because I also felt the same
well,
way.
It's not that it's hard. Like, it's not that it's really hard. It's just monotonous. I don't know how this is possible, but it's somehow both monotonous and just way too complicated and varied. Like, it seems like as long as I keep hitting button, like the thing keeps happening, but it just arbitrarily starts looking different and feeling different. And I thought 2 was good because it gives you time to work into all the extra options, like the spinning and floating and extra attacks and summons and stuff as you progress through the game, instead of just giving you this big heaping of extra combat crap like right away that just explodes all up in your face.
Yeah, it's pulling in like random mechanics from other game series, like the was it Lock Shot is from Birth by Sleep. Shotlock is from Birth by Sleep, which I think that was also. Did they have that in the Dream Drop Distance?
Yes. Yeah.
That seems like something they would have in that, and from what I remember seeing.
Flow Motion was also in Dream Drop Distance. So they're like, okay. There's these mechanics. So
they're not just taking story from these other random games. They're taking like gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, they're kind of like, because like, oh, Sora kind of learned how to do this stuff before.
They did not have Shotlock in 3D.
Okay.
But Flow Motion was.
But they had Flow Motion. Okay, so they're kind of like bringing that in, but at the same time resetting him. It's kind of...
Yeah, the thing that I hate the most is you get to the beginning of the game, and it's like, and here is why in the plot it makes sense that Sora forgot all this shit. Like, fuck you. God
like,
damn
or
it.
I could just start
again?
Because I feel like the powers you have starting, like, going into Kingdom Hearts 3 when you start is, like, so comparable to the stuff you have at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 when you've unlocked, like, all your forms and stuff. Like, you could just say, like, I don't know, just scale it all up. Be like, oh, these new ones are really powerful or something like that, and just not make it look so weird.
They kind of have to reset you each numbered one. Obviously, 1, you're starting off blank, but by 2, you did the chain of memories stuff, so you're reset because you had your memories
Your
wiped.
memories were erased.
And 3, you almost got Norded, so...
It's so ridiculous. Like, it's all so ridiculous, and I'm, like, rolling my eyes into the back of my head, but I'm still like, oh, those robes.
I will say...
Give me the robes.
I will say, once you get to the final act, once you get through the Disney worlds, there are so many cool moments that happen that really are just like, no, are you kidding me?
I keep hearing that, and it keeps me
Can we
going.
stop talking about Kingdom Hearts before I have a breakdown?
I know, right?
But yeah, so games that I've been playing. I have been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And
How many horses do you have?
I have gone through many horses, and my girlfriend has been
Wait,
watching.
gone through?
Well, because you're like,
I don't know how many horses you can have. I just know
you
need horses.
Can have an active one, you can have a temporary one, and you can stable 4. So you can have
Pokeballs?
Technically 6. But so like, you know, you'll start off with like a really like shitty horse, and then like as you get through, you can find better horses and stuff. And I'm at the point where I got like an Arabian, like a really like, it's got all the fat, like all those good
and
stats.
whistles.
It goes so fast and can take so many bullets.
You can fit so much spaghetti in this.
But
They call him Sonic the Horse.
it very much seemed like the game was leading up to the end. And the like on the save screen, it was like 50% story. And I was like, that has to be including like side missions and like legendary hunts and all the random stuff. And then I did what I thought was going to be the like last big job. And then the story kept going. And I'm almost at the point where it's like, okay, you should have ended it there. That was your shot. And I'm almost like, I kind of have to take a break from it for a minute and then come back. And I've been
wow, Bryce, you're really selling me on RDR2.
I was pushing Darian to play it, and now I'm almost going like, I think it's too long for Darian because it has great characters and cool gameplay and so much going on. It's just really long. And if you're like
but it's all about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. Some really, yeah. So I guess I will report back when I finally finished it to tell you, hey, it's all worth it.
Hey, it's done now, and I'm not playing it again.
So now it's your turn.
But
you do it.
I'm taking a break from it, and I will tell you what I'm taking a break with it. But first, I'll explain how I got there. So I've got some friends that I showed a little bit of VR to. We were doing an Extra Life stream, and I was like, oh, I have a VR headset. Do you want to try it real quick? And they checked out a couple things before they had to take off. It was just like, hey, we got like half an hour before we have to go. And I'm like, what can I run them through really quick? I don't even remember what. I think I put them in Pearl, which is like this little like animated movie that's like really, really cool. But I ended up this time because it was just like, hey, you're coming over, you're just doing VR. I showed them Beat Saber. That was their favorite.
It's a workout.
Yeah, and they've been adding new songs in there. They've got that League of Legends song that all the kids are about.
Yeah, I haven't played in a while, but I do want to check that out because the lack of songs was like one of my biggest complaints. Because I'm like, this is so fun, and it needs new songs without me having to like, I don't know, mod it or download other things.
I've modded it, but it seems that when they update it, it seems to break the modding. So I've just kind of been like, fuck it, we'll just go with what they give us because I don't play it too often. But I also ended up showing when I was looking for stuff to show them, I came across that apparently Google did this like they have this Google Spotlight thing of all of these VR movie experiences that Google has put out there free of like, these are really cool VR stuff. One of which is Age of Sail, which is this cool little story about a sailor who is like, he's got an old boat and he's basically been run out by modern cruise ships and stuff. Like, this is, I don't know, the 50s or whatever. Like, this is old time, but just like as modernization is starting to replace like proper sailboats where people are just like, we have a motor, we can just do this. And he's basically like sailing out in the ocean, going to die. Like, he's just like, I'm old, I'm gonna die. And a girl falls off one of those cruise ships, and he ends up saving her, and he basically like it's him kind of having to try and catch this ship, this motorized ship with his ship. And it's a really cool story. And there was moments, even they were in the headset, but I was watching on the screen, and there was really cool moments in just it. I imagine her with the sense of presence. Like, I asked her, like, do you feel like you're on the boat? She's like, yeah. So that was
How
really
long
cool.
are they?
I would say 5 to 10 minutes. They're really, really quick, like, experiences.
That's cool.
So search Google Spotlight on Steam, and you should find like about 10 of them. Another one that we found was called Peggy, and they touted this as an interactive experience. And I think to a certain extent it is, but I think they do that to kind of trick you at the same time, because it's just a white void with a little cartoon Piggy running around doing exercises. And there's a chocolate cake in a stand, and he's kind of wandering around, and they're like, if you don't look, catch him, he will grab that cake. So you kind of have to keep an eye and keep on the cake and stuff. And I remember she was playing, and at one point they kind of like had him running left. And the noises were coming left, so she starts looking left, and then the pig she turns, and then the pig doubles back to the cake, and it was like
the pig faked her.
Yeah, and I was like, that is really clever. Like, they made use of the fact of like, you are looking at him trying to catch him to like mess with you, and it was
That's
like
cool.
that. Yeah, that is a really cool use of.
Is that just on the Vive?
I mean, it's on Steam, so I imagine you can probably get it. However, I think Oculus can play Steam games. And
was that head tracking or was that eye tracking?
I think it's based on where your head is pointed. I don't think it's got eye tracking. So because your head has to be pointed to him. Because I've noticed that like, if you don't look at him, you can hear him walking around and stuff. And if you don't see him, then like the story doesn't progress. You'll just keep going until you like look. But while I was looking for games to play, I ended up going, oh, you know what I haven't done in a while? Elite Dangerous. And
God.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And ended up getting into that again. And I ended up spending a lot. That has been the game that I've been messing with since I've been playing Red Dead Redemption. So it's a space simulator where you're flying around, and you can do everything from haul cargo, haul people, hunt bounties, mine stuff. They've added expansions where you can land on planets now and like drive around in little rovers and stuff.
That sounds awesome.
Okay, and then, yeah, I ended up doing it, and I invited Sarah to come in and play with me, and the fact that she's going, like, sounds awesome is, like...
No, honestly, the whole thing sounds awesome. I jumped into your game, Bryce, I was just having, like, a bitch of a time. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it's just... Every time I went to, like, shoot or do something with the turrets, like... The wrong thing was selected, or like the wrong thing was like on, or the setting was janky, and I like didn't even know what half the settings did, and that just I probably just need to get used to the controls a little more, but for just a jump in and do it, it was not working out for me.
There were several issues that I did invite Sarah. What they have a multi-crew thing where if your the ship you have supports it, you can have another player take over like your guns. You have to have a slot for them to sit, and then your gun has to also support that mode. But I ended up getting both some guns that supported that, and my ship had enough space. So it's like, oh, Sarah, you have VR. Let's do this. And you at first didn't think you had a controller, but then you're like, oh, let me try the Steam controller.
Yeah, that controller, I can probably attribute a lot of the jankiness to. But it had a lot to do with, like, I had to have, like, my visor pointed at the right, like, line item of the thing I was trying to change, like, in menus and stuff. And it was just very hard because I was working with a controller that wasn't sensitive and wasn't really, like, workable while trying to make sure my head didn't move from like a single line I was trying to adjust the whole time, and then there were so many lines to adjust. It was just, like I said, a bitch of a time.
Yeah, it's honestly like the fact that you can, different screens will pop up depending on where you look, is a cool thing that you can do in VR, and you can actually like,
that part is cool. It got a little frustrating because it was kind of touchy, but like that part is pretty cool.
Yeah, I will play on my monitor, and I can tap in and then have free look, and then I'll look where I need to do. But just being able to have that where I can just have the headset down and just go, I need to look over here, is really convenient. You hadn't really played Elite Dangerous before you jumped in.
Not really, like not since I was playing with the Oculus like developers kit. So it'd been really, really long time.
Yeah, so I think that was also an issue, is that like you hadn't played in so long you didn't remember the controls. And then I also, like, afterwards I had never done the turret, so I couldn't really speak of like, here's what you need to be doing. So I ended up afterwards Googling some YouTube videos to be like, well, what's it supposed to be for her?
How's it done?
Yeah, and I think one of the issues we were having was you could get your lasers working, because I had control of a laser because it was not set for multi-crew, and you had a laser, but you also had two other weapons that you couldn't figure out how to fire, which I think I ended up finding out was that one of them you need to have the cursor on the thing for a long time to like lock onto it, because it's like a target lock thing. And the other one, you need to be within 1 kilometer. You have to be basically right against it to be able to shoot the torpedoes. So it's like, oh, it's because I chose real bad guns. I should have done better guns. So I think next time if we end up playing together, I'm just going to put like a bunch of lasers and cannons that can just shoot whenever. So it'll...
Well, I'll get a better controller. I can say that one. But also, I think just I would have had no way of telling what guns we had, honestly. Like I was just trying to navigate the menus was kind of rough.
Yeah, but I've been playing a lot of it, and it's in VR it is super immersive. I just like...
That part is true.
Yeah, it is cool because both in the normal game, like playing Pancake, you're in a seat of the cockpit and you are looking at first person. You're not like looking at your ship in space. You are in the ship and looking at the controls in front of you. And in VR, it's the same situation of like you are in the seat, and it makes it feel so cool. Like docking in a station is both in VR is like so like scary and intense. It's just like fly into this hole, but it's like, I'm gonna die, we're all gonna die, this is real life. But it's real cool. And like playing, I've been kind of grinding, trying to get better ships so that if we do multi ship again, then I'll have like a big dope ship and we can go blow up the pirate kings. I did notice we were shooting at some like defectors that was just like, I just don't want to
just little bitch baby defectors. They're like, here, this will be easy.
They were like, I don't want to fight people anymore, and we were like, well, we're gonna come kill you.
You're gonna fight us.
But I was looking at the Pirate Kings, and there were a few of them we probably could have attacked because they were marked of like, hey, anybody could kill this Pirate King. He's kind of a bitch. So if we play again, we might go try to kill some Pirate Kings. Yeah. Oh, another game I played. Do you know of Tearaway for the PlayStation 4 or of the Vita?
That's the one where you're like, it's artsy.
It's all made out of crafts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up playing through that all on the Vita, and I remember that being a fun little thing. And my girlfriend had a PlayStation 4 camera, so and I ended up plugging that in. I was like, oh, what would be a good use of that? And I was like, oh, Tearaway Unfolded. I remember I have that from PlayStation Plus, so I was playing a little bit of that. And it's fun. Like it's really cute. She ended up being very absorbed of like, you need to get rid of all the newspaper. It needs to all look great. And I'm like, okay. People will forget that apparently there's a PlayStation second screen app that works with certain games, and Tearaway being one of them. And you can design stuff in the app to be sent into the game, and we messed with that a little bit. At one point, she drew a dick and sent that into the game, so there was like little dicks flying around in the air around me. At first, nice. I was like, oh, you put a hat in, and she's like, it's not a hat, and I'm like, oh,
it's an airplane.
Yeah, no. So Tearaway is cool if you get a camera. If you look up into the moon, it'll always show your camera, so you're always like present in the world. And they're always referring to you. They're like, oh, you need to go to the U, which is the player. So it's kind of like, it's very fourth wall breaking. It's really cool.
It's cute.
But that is a great PlayStation game, which leads us to the news, where Mr. PlayStation himself, Kaz Hirai, will be retiring from Sony.
Mr. Kaz PlayStation?
Yeah. Why is he Mr. PlayStation? I don't know. Honestly, I have heard the name many times associated with PlayStation, but I could not...
I always thought it was like in the context of some fighting game or like or Smash, but it couldn't be Smash because he's Mr. PlayStation. So, he's gonna go hang out in the winners club with Reggie, with people who just are done being executives.
Yeah, but Sony Corporation Chairman Kaz Hirai, the former head of the company's PlayStation business, is retiring. Hirai will step down as chairman in June 18th, bringing his 35-year career at Sony to a close. So he's already left PlayStation, but he will be leaving Sony entirely after this. So good luck, and I hope him good life from now on.
I also hope him good life.
Well, I hope Borderlands 3 is a good game because it's been announced. And what I hear was a very clumsy reveal. Apparently they were having issues with the trailer and just kind of stalled for time for a while at the PAX East. But we have the trailer and some information, and I love Borderlands 1. I played through all of that. I think I stalled out halfway through Borderlands 2. Borderlands, I think, is a great game to play with friends. And if you don't have that, it's just kind of okay.
If you don't have friends.
The stories always seemed really interesting, but like I started the first one and it felt too MMO-y. Like the objective system and stuff like that. And I was just like, and then never got back into it.
Have you played Tales from the Borderlands? The Telltale game?
No, I keep thinking I probably should. That seems up my alley because the stories always seemed neat and everyone says it's really good.
Yeah.
It's just that part of it. So.
Oh. I hear that it's like the second best. Like obviously, The Walking Dead is the best Telltale game, and I hear people go
Wolf Among Us is pretty awesome.
I hear Tales from the Borderlands is one of the best, and when they were showed that the character from Tales from the Borderlands is in Borderlands 3, I saw somebody tweet of like, "Fine, I'll play your dumb shooter because you put this character in." Yeah, it's got the 4 different vault hunters. A buff hunter. Let me see. Oh yeah, the girl whose power allows her to have like 6 fists There is one that can summon in a mech. A older male hunter who uses a gadget that will create a holographic version of himself, which seems like that guy from Apex.
I was about to say, these all sound like Overwatch characters.
And a android or robot hunter appears to fight alongside... the Beastmaster guy who allows you to have different pets.
Or they should totally work like the same basic character from Apex into it, because Apex totally has like the psycho or the guy. There was a character from Borderlands that they added to Apex.
Octane.
Not from Borderlands, but he looks just like a character from Borderlands.
It's Octane, the new
They
one.
should be like, we see what you did there, and then just take someone from Apex.
But Borderlands 3 has announced that on PC they will be an Epic Game Store exclusive for 6 months. Which brings us to our next story.
Damn.
Borderlands 2 is the first game to have anti-review bombing actions in place on Steam. Obviously, after this news, people went to...
Borderlands 2 or 3?
2, because it's not on 3. They went to 2 and were just said it sucks, and like as protest for being announced that Borderlands 3 is exclusive.
What?
Yeah, because
okay, sure.
People are being whiny. So Steam put in a page to go off-topic review activity and said from April 3rd to April 6th, we are basically saying these reviews do not count because this is related to something that is not about the game itself. And, you know, you can read the reviews. They have a little button that says you can read them, but we're not including it in the overall score. This is not about the game. Which I think this review bombing has been an issue for a while.
It's an issue for like almost anything. People will take like an aspect of something like Captain Marvel or like name a thing, and if they're whiny enough about any unrelated aspect, they'll just be like, "Oh, let's take down the Metacritic score by being real whiny." Yeah. So
just because we're mad.
But yeah, it's good that Steam is finally taking actions to try and curtail that sort of activity, and hopefully that, like, if people go, well, they'll just mark it as a review bomb, so what's the point of even doing it? People won't do it in the future, because if you're not the end goal isn't reached, why bother?
Yeah, because you're mad, you need an outlet for it.
But I hope something that I don't get mad about is the Hyper Light Drifter TV series that will be coming from creator Alex Preston and Castlevania's Adi Shankar. Are you familiar with the Hyper Light Drifter video game?
Yep.
Darian, do you?
No.
I wonder if the cartoon's going to be difficult. Like, I don't know how that could possibly be the case, but I've played...
Is it gonna be hard?
Like Sekiro, like, the game's so pretty and it's so cool. I've played so much of it, but gotten not very far at all, just because I've gotten just curb stomped by very pretty, brightly colored monsters.
Have you seen the Castlevania Netflix cartoon?
I watched the first episode. I wasn't, like, gripped by it. I keep saying I'm going to go back to it, but I never did.
Oh, it's so good.
Season 1 seemed to get to the point a lot quicker. Season 2 had a lot more downtime, but the fight scenes were so good. And knowing that the guys behind that are going to be working on Hyper Light Drifter is very exciting. And if they keep
that sounds awesome. That just sounds so cool. Like, is it gonna be hard? Like, I don't know how a cartoon can be hard, but like it's just a crack on how hard the video game is. But like the game is visually stunning, and the story that I got to is really interesting. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, all they really have to do for me is keep the aesthetic, and they sold me. I've yet to be able to. I dipped in a little bit to Hyper Light Drifter, but I have not played too much. Maybe I will end up playing some on the Nintendo Switch, and maybe I'll get a new controller for it, but probably not, because this new controller that's coming out is more for the Fortnite gamers. A new controller has been announced that will allow you to be able to do Fortnite chat without the weird Nintendo app that exists. You don't know about the Nintendo thing that like
I don't really play on the Switch much at all, but those tiny wonky controllers they're too small.
Oh yeah, I've got like 3 Pro controllers, so I'm good.
Glenn's got a Pro controller, but I'm still just like, no, it's I don't like any of that.
But this new controller basically looks like a Pro controller. It is wired in, and it will have an auxiliary port to allow you to plug in a headset.
Oh wow!
And it features support for Viviox integrated in-game chat. So if the game runs on Viviox for its chat protocols, then you will be able to plug in your headset and talk without a phone or any sort of third-party voice chat. Apparently Fortnite is the game, like the most well-known that runs Viviox. It's kind of cool. It's kind of dumb that Nintendo even made this have to exist with the way they're doing voice chat, but it's cool that maybe this is a step.
Maybe they have a peripheral planned someday.
Yeah, maybe
that's how they get you.
Maybe we'll see Nintendo do this with all games in the future. But the company making this controller says right now it's going to work with Viviox integrated chat, and they're hoping to be able to get it set up so every game that has chat, all chat protocols will be supported down the line. So that's a cool little thing. But until then, I will probably be playing some other Nintendo Switch games, and maybe I'll be playing them in VR.
What?
So we already know that Nintendo Labo is coming out with a VR Labo set, which many of it's real goofy. There's like a camera and an elephant.
I was going to say, how much more advanced is it going to be than just Google Cardboard? Because that's already a cardboard VR system that exists.
It is. I mean, it's Nintendo Labo. We already knew it's cardboard and stuff. And I've seen Facebook deals where like, do VR for your Switch, and it's like, don't do that. It doesn't support that. And now it does. So I don't know if they were like,
we got to get in on that.
Yeah, we're inspired. They were like, people are buying this thing that doesn't work. So maybe we should like make our own. But along with the Nintendo Labo little kits stuff that they've announced, you will be able to play full-on Nintendo titles in VR coming soon. This includes little snippets of Mario Odyssey. I guess a few little worlds will be available.
I was going to say, so it'll be like a limited portion of each game in VR, or are they going to like port like a first-person view for it?
Well, Mario Odyssey will support a bite-sized experience with players getting to complete 3 mini missions in the Cap, Seaside, and Luncheon Kingdoms. But Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild seems to be fully supported, with snippets of play from all over Hyrule being featured in the teaser. So it looks like Breath of the Wild will be fully playable in VR.
Make it even more like Skyrim.
Yeah. Which we saw, they put out a teaser of that on Twitter. This is from the Polygon article by Cass Marshall. So this is really cool. Like, I honestly, it's fascinating to see that like literally everyone is supporting VR. Even Nintendo has a like a really bizarre VR headset, but their console is VR capable.
It had to be bizarre if it's Nintendo, but yeah, it definitely is. It's encouraging for everyone to see that like this is a technology that everyone's embracing and trying to bring into the mainstream.
Yeah, I will say that I've seen when the VR headset was announced, I heard people going like, the Nintendo Switch is a 720p like device. It's gonna look so bad.
It's gonna throw up everywhere.
And that's
but that's probably coming in tandem with the new unconfirmed but also confirmed Switch system that's gonna be more
powerful,
advanced.
Yeah, well, I would hope that the new one is maybe 1080p portably, and we'll see. I was fine with it of like, oh, they're just gonna have these random things that probably you don't need great graphics or whatever for, that everything's gonna be so big you won't even notice. But if you're playing Legend of Zelda, it could be a thing. But I guess it's one of those things that we'll wait and see, and it, if this takes off, it could be cool. Personally, I would be curious to see if people are able to rip it and put it on a good headset.
Hopefully it's good, but even if it's shitty, like, even when there's shitty things out there, like, as long as the technology is like saturating every part of the gaming market, they'll adapt and they'll find a way to make it better.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. The PlayStation VR is one of the least powerful headsets, but it's been pushing VR so much more than, Oculus or the Vive really has been, because Sony's been supporting it so much. So it doesn't take the most powerful headset to be making waves.
No, definitely not. The thing is, like, I'm so surprised even to this day they haven't, like, come up with a better controller solution for it. Because more often than not, I'll just use the regular PlayStation controller rather than the Move controllers, unless they're absolutely required, just because they're, like, such old hunks of plastic and just take forever to charge. Like, they don't have the standard charge port. It's just, like, I don't know, it's trying to use, like, a super new, like, a newer technology with, like, super old technology, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
That could be something they're holding off on, like, down the line for PlayStation 5 or something in the next VR iteration, but for now I'm just like, God, really? Like, you just, I get that they're like, oh, lots of people already have these, so it's like a peripheral you don't have to buy, but at what cost? Like, seriously, it's so, I have difficulties with them. I do like a lot of PSVR games I've played, but the controllers are not, they take that experience down quite a bit.
Yeah, the way PlayStation VR does this tracking is very odd. But maybe the next PlayStation VR is going to have the cameras on the headset itself, like the Oculus Rift S apparently does. So Polygon put out an article. If you can't tell, we get most of our news from Polygon. Hey, if you want to, are you a media source that wants to be included? Don't have auto playing at videos on your website, because I've gone to other websites and been like, oh, let me put their article in. Oh, wait, it has an auto playing video. I don't want that. I'm going to find Polygon's article because I know their videos won't play.
Yeah, and also don't have something that every time you click on anything on your website says, oh, you have ad blocker? Shut the fuck up. Man, fuck you. This is why I have it.
I mean, to be fair,
Polygon does that too.
But also people got to sell ads. It's shitty and stupid, but it's like the way media outlets work.
Right. Polygon doesn't have a pop-up. Polygon in the ad spaces says, oh, hey, could you turn off ad blocker?
But everyone else is just more aggressive.
Kotaku is like, turn your ad blocker off, please. And one of the websites, I don't even remember which one it was because I don't use them anymore, but is like, shut off ad blocker or you can't access our content. Like, okay, well, fuck your content then.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
It's like you gotta make money. You gotta make money, but at the same time, you gotta have readers. So speak with your reader money.
Or you could just put out a podcast for free and just hope people support you on Patreon. It's been working out so well. But the Oculus Rift S, they did a preview or impressions on it. So Oculus' new and improved Rift S has improvements including higher resolution screens, more comfortable headset, and redesigned touch controllers. I don't have the Oculus. Honestly, I don't really care about the Oculus because the parent company is kind of a jerk. But the fact
in multiple ways, like with the exclusivity bullshit, and etc.
The reason I'm bringing this up is the fact that they removed the sensors from, like, they do not have lighthouses as what the Vive calls it. They instead have several cameras on the headset itself to be able to track where you are and stuff. And that I mean, part of me thinks that is very cool. That removes a part, like the bulkiness of it. You don't have to set up the deal. You can just kind of plug it, less cords and stuff. At the same point, I'm like, does it track as well? Are you going to be able?
How big of a room can you be in with that?
Is it measuring? Because like Rick and Morty VR, it'll you set up your room and then it will set up the game space for the room you are in. Like I played in a smaller room and the items were closer together. The desk was very tightly laid out. And then I played in a bigger room and the table was more spread out because they knew I could move around more.
That's interesting. I didn't think about how they would scale that. I figured it would just be the same size no matter what.
No, yeah, some games scale based on the room and that's very cool. So would something like this, do you just put in your room size, or is it just like, hey, it doesn't matter? On the same note, I feel like it's worth mentioning, Oculus also has the Quest coming out, which is supposed to be completely wireless because you are just running it entirely off your head. There is no...
Just a computer on your head.
Yeah, there's no, you're not running a computer or anything. It's just all in the headset.
Was it that one? I wonder, was it that one? Or I think it was a Samsung one that I saw this ad for. And like the commercial was like Leslie Jones in the bathtub with the thing on her head. And she was like watching The Shape of Water. And I'm like, I might get that. It sounded really neat. It sounded like a good experience.
I'm considerably more interested now.
I've heard a few people try the Oculus Quest at GDC. Like Greg Miller said he played Beat Saber on that, and he said it worked really, really well.
Wireless Beat Saber sounds so great. Oh, damn.
But on that same note, like, obviously, with that, you're giving up room scale. It's almost cell phone VR-esque.
I was going to say, like, what happens if you just... Because I've never played VR on a wireless machine. What happens when you just walk away? Like... the computer's on your head. Like, how does it know where you're going?
It doesn't.
You're just stationary.
Break from the machine. Super hot better be on that. Let's go.
I imagine it tracks the same way that like a cell phone tracks when you're doing like, Snapchat filters and stuff like that. It tracks. Yeah. So it's not going to be the same, but it's definitely it's cool to see where VR is being pushed towards. And speaking of the next iteration of VR, the reason that I've invited our VR expert Sarah on is that Valve has teased and named their official VR headset.
It's got the dorkiest name ever.
The Valve Index. Now, it should be noted that the HTC Vive, Steam had partnered with HTC to make the Vive, and there was a lot of cooperation going on there, but it seems that Steam has kind of broken ties there. I mean, there's probably some like...
I think their contract was up or something, and they just decided to do their own thing rather than keeping HTC on.
Yeah, I've heard some bad... I haven't really had issues with the Vive, but I've heard some bad stuff from them. And we've heard for some time that Steam has been making their own controllers, which has been codenamed the Knuckles, but apparently are just going to be called the Index controllers.
The dorky ones.
Yeah, which it's... like, Oculus is a really cool name. Vive is all right. Index?
I thought Morpheus was a bitchin' name, but PlayStation was like, no, let's not call it that. I'm like, why?
No, there'll be too many Matrix jokes.
Yeah. That's the idea.
No such thing.
So we got an image of the kind of the side view of the Index. And from what we're able to see, there are two cameras on the left and right, which from that indication, I'm saying AR is capable on this.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that it could be that. It could imply also that, especially if there are any more controllers or cameras eventually, that you don't need lighthouses.
Oh, see,
Potentially.
I'm fair. I want lighthouses personally.
I've never minded the lighthouses, but
Yeah.
everyone's looking at that being like, oh, could the cameras mean no lighthouses? And
Yeah. See, I'd be more. I want AR in conjunction with the lighthouse. Like, give me full. Like, let me have perfect tracking in AR. But this is pretty sure we'll be supporting Lighthouse 2.0, which I'm very excited about. Because with my Lighthouse 1.0, there's some small gaps. Like, there'll be times where things lose tracking. And with Lighthouse 1.0, you can only have 2 sensors. With 2.0, you can have as many sensors as you want.
that's awesome.
I could literally put sensors in my office and then running into my hallway, running all throughout my house, so I could literally walk all around and be tracked.
What, so then, like, in an open game, like, I don't know, like Arizona Sunshine or something, then you could just, like, walk forever?
Yeah. Or like Tilt Brush, you could literally draw stuff all throughout your house.
That's insane.
If you've got the sensors. Along with that, like, we have known that the Knuckles have been coming out, and everything from the Knuckles looks so cool. They have individual finger tracking, and they kind of like gripped onto your hand, so that to let something go in with the knuckle controllers, you just lift your hands out open, and
That's
you
awesome.
can grab. I saw a gameplay video of a game where a guy was shooting with his gun, and he literally held it like this so he could, because it's doing individual tracking, and it feels there's a lot of like, okay, you need to press this button on the Vive controller and stuff, but if I'm literally like, oh, how do I let go, I'm like, open your hand. The immersion is going to be so great. I am so excited. So on the screen, for they put up the Steam page for it, and it's just the picture that we saw, and then like more information coming May. In terms of resolution, I'm guessing this will have at least the Vive Pro's resolution, and then we already know about the controls. We're assuming AR. What, anything else do you think this is going to come?
Well, they've got to have something that will make people like me, who are like early-ish adopters of the HTC Vive, want to switch, because right now that's what everyone who uses VR on Steam is using. So like that's like their entire market. So they need to have something beyond what's available on that device, whether it be like better resolution or no need for lighthouses or AR, like you said. Like they need something big. I was trying to get an idea of what people were realistically expecting, and I found this I think it was maybe the HTC subreddit or some kind of VR subreddit, where someone had made just a thread that was listing all the most negative observations they could come up with to like keep people's expectations low, and people are like, yay, now I won't get my hopes up. But they were talking about how because of the specs it was asking for, they're not that much better than what's on most PCs that can run VR technology. They're saying like, the resolution can't be that much better, and like the processing can't be that much better and stuff. But it's got to be a little better at least, and at least it should use the new controllers, which will be nice.
If it has the eye tracking that the Vive has, that they showed off that the Vive can basically do higher resolution graphics where you're looking, so it doesn't need to be that powerful, because they'll just up it where you're looking and turn it down where you're not. So if they use that, like, maybe you don't need the greatest PC ever. It also should be like, I think they're selling the thing, like you could buy just the controllers. I think
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and the controllers will work with whatever headset you have, so you don't necessarily need to get the whole thing if you want.
I imagine they would want people to get the whole thing.
Yeah, they said more information coming May. From the rumors I hear, it sounds like that page is gonna update May 1st with like the pre-order page, and obviously all the specs and stuff. Because that'd be weird for them to take pre-orders and be like, you'll find out when it gets there.
Yeah.
So we'll get more clarification and probably the stuff. I honestly think this will be very affordable because like, you know, they've got all this competition, but more because if they're selling you this headset and thus you'll be buying Steam games and they're taking a cut from all the Steam games. So they're going to do the same thing that PlayStation does is they take a loss on the hardware because they'll be making money on the games.
Yeah. And if it's just, if they're not like using anyone else from outside to help develop it like HTC, then they get to keep all the profits and take no loss, or rather not take as much loss.
Yeah.
Like what price point are you thinking?
What's the PlayStation VR at right now?
It's like 300, 2 something maybe.
I would say at most 500.
That seems excessive. It's $250.
But I mean, I will say that like this is going to be more expensive. I would say probably 300 would be a good. If they could hit 300, they're going to be doing great.
Yeah, they're going to do gangbusters if they do 300, but I would like 500 is definitely going to be on the high end of the spectrum, but I would not be surprised at that. I think 400 would probably be their best. Like that's the most believable point to me is 400, but if they manage to get down to 300, like I wouldn't even have to sell my current one to get it.
300, then they would be competing with the PlayStation VR because there's nobody else at that price point.
But I'd gladly pay an extra 100 or 200 for it to just be better all around.
Yeah, this will blow the PlayStation VR out of the water. So if you have VR capable PC, you're gonna go with the Steam Index over the PlayStation VR. I would hope. So I think the $300, $500 range, I would love for them to come in at 300. 300, I will drop it. No, honestly, if they come in that range,
300 without the controllers.
No, I'm saying 300 whole package.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but
is the whole package 300 from PSVR?
PSVR, they're counting on you already having the controllers.
No, I mean they have a package. I think that has everything.
They do.
Okay, well we're gonna that's what we got for that. Darian is now going to do the Patreon producers because I haven't heard her voice yet and I would like to make sure it still exists.
That's a lie. So Last Geek has launched a Patreon to help make great content like this podcast, this very amazing podcast that you're currently listening to and or watching. For the low price of $5 a month, you can get a shout out on every episode of Ready Set Gamecast, like Aaron C. and Dragons Lucas did. Thanks so much for supporting the show.
That didn't sound weird at all. It should be noted that if you were watching the video version on YouTube, you'll see your name and cool graphic stuff on screen because we wanted to make you the coolest person in town.
And birthday confetti.
Probably not that, but your name will be on screen and it'll look dope. Let's hop into the topic of the show. After the release of the latest From Software game, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, there have been talks about Sekiro's difficulty and From Software games' difficulty in general, and should there be tools to allow players to turn down that difficulty so all gamers are allowed to enjoy the experience, not just, the very hardcore of hardcore gamers.
Not just pro gamers.
What do you think of adding difficulty options to these type of games? Should more games have an easy mode / difficulty options? And do you think adding these options lessens the achievements for gamers who play it on the hardest difficulty? What do you... Sarah, you go.
Short answer, no. I don't think they need it at all. I think that... I don't want to be dick enough to say that it ruins the game or it ruins the point or lessens the reward or whatever, but it's just not what From Software wanted to do. I love this overarching feeling when playing a From Software game that they're like take it or leave it. They're like you could sit here and play and adapt to it and get better at it and figure out the secrets, figure out the stuff that you need to do to actually play it and proceed, or don't, or play something else. There's so many other games you could possibly play if you don't want to do that. And that's how I feel. And that comes from a person who I can't get very far in Bloodborne on my own. It's my favorite From Software game. I love it a lot. But in order to get past like halfway, I need to play with friends. Like I summon either the NPC or I summon a friend. I'm not that good at it. I'm competent at it. But yeah, I need help. And it honestly, Bloodborne has that way to mitigate the difficulty. Sekiro doesn't. It has a completely different, but yet awesome in completely different ways combat system that you totally can't just approach like you do a normal From Software game, which is I just can't believe how they keep being able to do that and reinvent themselves while still being so similar. I think it's really neat. I think I appreciate their artistic vision and the vision for what they want those games to be. And I don't think that they need to add different game modes. I think there's plenty of games that do that. And just because I'm going to feel pretty left out of Sekiro pretty soon, I'm pretty sure, because I'm having a lot of fun with it. But it's starting to get difficult to the point where the enjoyment is really diminishing versus how difficult it is. And I might just not play it farther. I might just play more Dark Souls or more Bloodborne because I prefer those. I don't feel entitled to having the game cater to how I want to play it. Like it's meant to be played a certain way, and I rather respect that than demand it cave to what I want.
I mean, I do understand that it has, like, the developers have a certain vision for their game, but like by having that vision, they are leaving out large amounts of gamers. And I mean, obviously you're probably thinking of, oh, you know, if you just get good enough. But I mean, I also saw the guy from was it Able Gamers talking about how like this is also an accessibility issue about disabled people are not, because you don't have, you know,
you sure can, like, I guess, bring that topic into it, I guess, and bring that angle to the issue. I feel like that whole comparison is kind of inappropriate here, just because you could do that with any game then. You could say, all hard games should have an easy mode or something like that. Like no shit, it would be awesome if I could just have a walkthrough mode for Bloodborne, because I adore it. It's beautiful, and I love the world. Like, if I could have, like, a neat PlayStation VR just enjoyment mode, I would love that, but I wouldn't want them to change the way you play the game.
No, see... But why don't they just put in that setting? Why don't all games have an easy mode, and then the default is the hard mode? Does it take away, if they do add in an easy mode, does it take away from the hard mode? Does it take away from the default?
That's a good point, because I've always been a big proponent of, like, when nerds who like a really old school property get mad about, like, whatever new version or iteration comes out, they get all just crazy angry and pissed off, and you just want to say, like, hey, they're not taking away the thing you enjoy. They're just making it more accessible to other people, there isn't a problem with that. It's just, I don't know, when it's something like a game series that's historically known for being difficult. It's known for, you have to play a lot and sort of get the rhythm and get the groove to be able to proceed and enjoy it to its fullest extent. Then, like, yeah, I think that should be the way that it's consumed.
I mean, because it's like this, or because it's always been like this, is an argument for a lot of bad things.
Oh, totally.
But
I also don't think it's, like, hurting anyone to not be able to get past the first few bosses in Sekiro. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna be upset about that.
I think it's one of those games of, like, I know that type of game is not for me, and I've messed with Bloodborne of, like, oh, you know, but I've known that this is a game for very hard gamers. But I think, like, because Sekiro, because these games are unique and have these cool world, I think that gamers are going, like, hey, it kind of sucks that you're leaving us out by not giving us any options. And it's like Kingdom Hearts 2, I have seen these like crazy battles by people playing on the hardest difficulty, and that is impressive as heck. But that doesn't mean that we're left out. Like, we're, you know,
if I try to think about it, like if I try to really stand back and look at the issue objectively, like I can see it being an issue, like almost like a physically imposed like gatekeepery issue where it's like, I want to be impressive just for wearing the shirt, because if you walk around saying like if you walk around with like a Kingdom Hearts shirt, no one's like, oh, did you play that on proud mode? That's really impressive. If you walk around wearing like a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne shirt, people don't ask, oh, did you play that on hard mode? They're just like, oh, do you play that? And that's like, I guess the petty shitty end of the spectrum. And to be fair, I adore Bloodborne. I'm never going to be like, oh, get good if you can't play it, because I'm not very good at it. I enjoy it very much. Like it's a beautiful world and awesome intricate story that I think is very neat. Same thing to a lesser degree with Dark Souls, but it's like I know my limitations with it. Like I'm not angry about my limitations with it. I respect the fact that if I want to get farther without help, I have to get better at it, or just, you know, adapt to it a little bit better. I think it's a thing that's unique to that type of game, and I wouldn't try to take like a game type or a game series that has never really fit what I want. Like I'd never say like, hey, Borderlands needs to be less MMO-y, even though they totally made a Borderlands game that's not MMO-y, but I would never say like, I've always wanted to get into this game, so you need to change it to cater to what I want.
Arguing.
I know it's a difficult aspect. It's a difficult debate, because I agree. Like I agree with the accessibility aspect of it. Typically, it's just I don't know how you would do that.
You're arguing game mechanics versus like difficulty of them, because like you know, I'm pretty sure Borderlands has like
they have difficulty. I'm talking about like I don't like the type of gameplay that it is. It's not the difficulty, it's just the gameplay loop that I don't like. It's not like a style that I like. And if it were honestly, if Bloodborne were going to be more, if Bloodborne could be made more accessible to like people with actual like visual disabilities or like any other kind of impairment, if there were a way to do that, like changing the difficulty is not going to fix that. Like that's not going to make it an actual accessibility thing as far as people with disabilities that need it more accessible. It's just people who can't play it very well wanting it to be easier, and that's I'm like, nah.
I mean, I think it being less, you know, if you have milliseconds, if you have to get the timing down to milliseconds or like be very precise, obviously people with handicaps aren't going to do that. If you make it easier, that's going to give them more leeway, so that, you know, so even an easier thing will help them. But I mean, I do feel like it is a form of gatekeeping, and there's really no reason that every gamer shouldn't be able to enjoy Sekiro. Like it doesn't take anything away from the people who play it on hard, as would be the default. Like any type of gatekeepery like stuff with games I think is personally stupid, and stopping to think about like maybe that is why people who like the Souls franchise games and stuff like are so dead set on it being that difficult. I don't know. I for me it's a vision thing. I just I like the attitude that those games take of like, we don't have to help you. If you don't like it, you can leave type of deal. But I'm not, at the same time, I'm not going to be mad if they were to release difficulty levels or like make it easier or anything like that. If for people who want to elect to have it that way, like more options is never bad, especially if you're not trying to take like an egotistical like gatekeepery approach to it. Yeah, definitely. Like it can be buried in the options of like, you know, just small
I feel like making
tweaks.
it difficult to turn the difficulty down is just mean.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, just do it.
Yeah. Darian, any thoughts?
I mean, I feel like you guys covered it pretty well, to be honest. The only thing, I guess, my perspective, I'm also bad at video games. I'm very bad at them. And I know that games like Sekiro and Bloodborne and Dark Souls are not for me, because I've seen people start that game blind and die within 30 seconds.
You have to know secrets. You have to know like so many secrets.
And that's just not something I'm here for.
Like it's so mean, but at the same time, like Maybe it's because like I'm a little mean, but I respect it. I'm just like, oh yeah, be mean to me. I like that.
Well, sure, but
I feel like it's either people being gatekeepery or it's like masochists
Yeah.
that want to keep it the way it is.
I mean, like, how many people play those games with watching YouTube walkthroughs of like, oh, where do I go? What skills am I supposed to select?
Well, if you like have other friends that play it too, it's not so much like the watching a YouTube playthrough of it. It's like talking to people you know, like did you figure out how to do this yet, and like syncing up on it. And I like that. I like that aspect of it, that they don't spoon feed you the answers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when the game first comes out, there's definitely that. But as games, you're probably watching a full walkthrough of like, oh, like Dark Souls. I ended up getting a decent way into like Dark Souls 2 or something, and I got to a certain point where everywhere I went, I just was getting my ass kicked because like I think I was supposed to take a certain path. And like I ended up going.
A lot of it's memorization.
Well, yeah, it's like they want you to go. Like they'll give you a lot of different places, but like you're kind of supposed to do it in a certain order. And I pulled up a walkthrough of like, where am I supposed to go? And it's like, okay, from the starting area, go here, go here. And I'm like, I did not do it. I guess I'm done. This is
for sure.
From the beginning of the game, this is what you have to do.
Like the secret, for sure. Like I'd say, like a good 60% of the success is just memorizing like all of the enemies, like what their pattern is, how you have to hit them before they transform, or how you have to, I don't know, jump off a certain ledge or not go the way you think you were supposed to be going. And it's got this like this quality to it where once you figure it out, you can kind of reverse engineer it and know like, oh, there was actually clues for this. They were very subtle and very clever, but there were actually clues to tell you like what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. And obviously you die a lot, so you get to know these areas very well as you move along. And there's just something really satisfying about that. It's not just in like beating the hard boss. It's just returning to a level like you're in Cheers, like everybody knows your name and stuff. It's just this familiarity you build up by having to repeat it a bunch of times because it is difficult and stuff. Like maybe I could almost say like I don't want to deprive anyone else of that. It's frustrating, but it's rewarding and very fun.
But I will say, just Kingdom Hearts 2, I've seen a ranking of the hardest bosses in Kingdom Hearts 2 and some of the crazy.
Those can get brutal.
Yeah, and the guys playing on the hardest difficulty and these crazy like give Dark Souls a run for their money in terms of like the specific quickness of it. And I am so amazed by the players who can pull that off, but the fact that I am able to play that same game and go through the experience, and it's very different for me, but I still get to experience the same world. That's all I'm asking for them is give them the challenge that they want and give me the world. Let us both get what we want out of the game.
Yeah, and there's technically no argument for that. The way I've always seen it is like there's so many games in so many genres that do that, and there's like a few genres that don't. So it's, I don't know. I feel like not everything has to have that quality to it, but at the same time, it's not. I'm a real Libra person when it comes to debates. I'm always like, oh, both points have a lot of merit. But
I'm a Libra too, so take that.
Same. Is this a Libra podcast?
Apparently.
Oh damn.
Holy shit.
Well, welcome to the Libra questions and comments.
Welcome to the Libra bisexual podcast.
Do you want to be part of the show? Darren, do you want to do questions? You always do questions.
I don't know. You kind of took the reins, so I was like, all right, cool.
I was just trying to get off the topic of the show. I was just aborting. I was pulling
abdicating. Fuck this.
Before we debate so hard, we just see each other's points too well and then just switch completely.
Darren, do you want to do the one question we have?
Sure. Do you want to be a part of the show? Go to readysetgamecast.com/submit to submit a question, comment, or your favorite color of Yoshi for us to read on the show.
Come on, it's perfect to be able to go like your astrological sign. Yeah,
it checks out.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Your favorite astrological sign? So your own? Tell me what your sign is.
My favorite is Scorpio.
Yeah, maybe like I really like the Leo because they're a lion.
I like the Aquarius because there's a song about the age of Aquarius. I'm not even sure it has anything to do with the signs, but...
What's the question?
Me Man has asked, what do you think about Prince Charles banning Fortnite?
Did he actually do that?
He talked about it. He didn't.
So they can't play Fortnite in the UK anymore?
No, they can. He just talked about how they're
It's addictive. I heard
addictive, hypnotic, I think. Something like that. Something along those lines.
I guess if you're like invested in the lives of the people it's entrancing, then I could see how you wouldn't like it. But
like lots of things are. It's big. Like, did he?
Whatever. They've got legal online gambling there, so he can just shove that.
He didn't make the case when the kids were playing Minecraft.
It's because he's tight with Notch.
Yeah, kids were just as much into Minecraft when that was big as they are into Fortnite.
Like, also, there'll be more Fortnite. There'll be, like, there's already Apex. Like, there'll be a new Fortnite if you get rid of it. It's pointless. I'm one of those, you can't stop the tides.
I walked up by a bunch of kids, I would say about 10-year-olds the other day, and no prompting whatsoever, they asked me if I played Fortnite. I told them I did, and then they asked me how many wins I got, and then I lied.
Yeah, that's safe.
They're all just there to measure dicks.
Yeah, kind of.
There's a...
well, see, the sad thing is I lied and told them I got 3 wins, and they're like, oh. And then I was like, well,
reverence.
I was like, I play better games than Fortnite anyway. And they're like, Apex? And I'm like, yeah. And then I ran away.
Okay, the funny thing is the argument right now is Apex versus Fortnite. But I have a coworker who is still on the PUBG train. So when me and all my other coworkers were all excited about Apex, he was like, yeah, I can't play it. It's too futuristic. It sucks. Like, okay, so you play PUBG?
Sorry, you can't use a frying pan.
Yeah, it's a little, PUBG doesn't have a leg to stand on right now, to be honest.
PUBG.
Sorry.
PUBG is its own thing and is cool at what it does, and comparing it to each one is so unique. And if
PUBG was cool.
No, PUBG is still cool at what it is, and it is a unique experience. And just because it's not the greatest hot new thing, none of these other games offers the same experience that PUBG does. And
PUBG was cool and did change the topic, but it's not. It can't keep up. It's not.
It also made
up.
Everything have to have a battle royale mode, which I don't appreciate.
It did a really good job of creating a genre, and I respect it for that, but it's not relevant anymore. There are other games that are now doing it better. I was a diehard PUBG person. Sorry, it's just not good anymore. They couldn't fix their problems. And now there are other games that have come and have fixed the problems and run better, like even just performance-based. Like PUBG never got past the always crashing, can't connect, having issues with graphical glitches.
They were just like addicted to those beta specs.
Right, like I would like to play, like buy a game. I bought and paid for PUBG and a bunch of its DLC. It's the
crates,
just the skins and stuff.
The skins, exactly. Yeah, which is my thing. I'm a whore for skins. But it the fact that it can't run at the same rate that the other games do, and the other games are free. Like, I'm sorry, PUBG's not relevant anymore. It was good. It did some good things for the genre. It's just not. It can't keep up. It's not there anymore. It's not cool anymore. I don't like not being able to run a game that I paid for. That's where I'm coming from.
I can't argue with you, but I don't play any of those games.
I think it's still fun in its own aspects, but I haven't
Battle
loaded.
Royale should have a difficulty mode.
I mean, it does.
The gimmicky bullshit
it's
like
separating people into skill levels, to my knowledge, right?
It's playing it when the game first starts, and then one longer it goes on, it gets harder. Because when the game first launches, everybody doesn't know shit, but then like 3 weeks in, everybody knows exactly where the guns are, every inch of the map. They know exactly.
With PUBG in particular, people I knew used to refer to playing on different servers as playing on different difficulties, but that was shitty.
PUBG, like, okay, day one, nobody knew what was going on, and it was fun because it was always surprising. 3 weeks in, everybody knew where the loot was, where to go for this stuff, where to avoid where everybody else was going to be. 3 months in, it was like, okay, projecting bullet drop and what each scope is going to do, and, how this gun reacts versus this gun, and the different damage you get from the bullet types, and getting into the more scientific, much more complicated aspect of the game.
That's why I've just never been able to get into any game where you play with, like, the general public or like people in general, because it's just that like there'll always be someone who like doesn't have a job or like has like the extra spare time that can just drill down so hard where it's like not fun for people who don't have that kind of time to dedicate to like knowing it that well and stuff.
Right.
And it's just
ninja.
The game just kind of I don't know, it adjusts itself to where like all the other players are too good.
I will say that the way to combat that, which is something Fortnite does very well, and Apex is starting to catch up a little bit, is to just keep updating it, release new guns and new stuff, so the meta is constantly changing, so that nobody can get a firm handle of like, this is the best thing, because new guns are completely changing the dynamic of like, how does this fit into the thing. But I don't think Prince Charles is going to ban Fortnite, and nor should he.
I'd like to see him try though.
I'll punch him in the jaw if he tries.
Like, not only are we separating from the EU, we are separating from the Fortnite servers. Or the Fortnite, right? Yeah.
But this brings us to the housekeeping section. Grab that broom. We gotta clean up this place before the guests get here. Go to lastgeek.com for links to the podcast on all your favorite podcast services, including iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, as well as the video version on YouTube. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps us grow and become more powerful.
I'm following what everyone else does.
Yeah, I put it in the notes, but no one ever reads the part that I say everybody flexes.
It's because our notes are so fucking dense. Like, read this novel before you come on our podcast.
Other Last Geek stuff you should check out. There's a new Game Make Corp episode out there. It was a game. I don't remember. I know you came
unicorn
before.
One.
Yo, shit, yeah, the unicorn one. We just recorded that on Tuesday. It was Unicorn Town Adventure. It's a game that only one person can play it at a time, and everybody's playing the same game, and only one person can play it at a time.
So it's in an arcade cabinet?
No, like it's
like you've been in queue for like a year.
Yeah, it's like think Fallout 4, but only one player can play the game at a time. So you got to like be like, okay, I'm gonna jump in the queue, and like 1 year later, you get your shot to like play.
And it's like a one life system.
Well, the great way to find out how this game works, go to your podcast service and listen to Game Make Corp. It's there. It's hilarious. I did a great thumbnail for it.
It's got a unicorn on it, I imagine.
It does. It has a unicorn and a dragon, and it's so pretty. Last Geek has a merch store. Go to lastgeek.com/store to check out the stickers, t-shirts, and even leggings for your favorite Last Geek podcasts. They're there. They're very fairly priced. I brought the prices down as low as the thing will let me.
I want some leggings with your Elite Dangerous ship on it.
I don't have that.
Sorry, that's not a thing.
I did the Game Make Corp ones. I am very proud of. I haven't the Race at Gamecast ones harder because the way the logo's laid, like ready and set are very short words and Gamecast is very long. So I don't know. You can look at them and decide if they're cool and then maybe buy them.
I mean, I'm going to get them and I only won't wear them if they fit me wrong, but I'll have them.
Cool. I think the premium leggings, so they should feel so good.
You mean you haven't worn them?
I have the Game Mate Corp ones coming Wednesday for my girlfriend. I will not be partaking. We will find out
Not a legging wear.
We will find out how the leggings fit on Wednesday. This brings us to the end of the podcast. Darian, where can people find you?
They can find me at twitch.tv/dexterity, DEXTERIDEE. And I've got a Twitter and an Instagram that I update sometimes.
Sarah, pimp your shit.
Really, my shit is, let's see here, at Cyrew, which is spelled SCIREW on Twitter. You can find links to most other things through there. I'm occasionally on a podcast called Dual Screen Audio, and occasionally Cam we just talk about blank with a various theme plugged in there. But yeah, we try to post every other week, sometimes every week if we're very active. Yeah.
Okay, and then it's my turn. Last Geek on Twitter, Last Geek Plays on Instagram and Twitch. Facebook.com/LastGeek. I don't really post there, but sometimes I do, and then it's special. And LastGeek.com for links to this podcast and all the Last Geek podcasts that exist. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Sarah for coming on. And we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.